Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Hey, Are You Still There podcast on Easter Monday. Hello, Beth.
Hey.
How's it going today?
Oh, polleny.
Polleny?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, I made it up. It's when we're pollinated to the extreme and everything is yellow. And when you sit on it, there's a cloud of pollen and you're sneezing and your eyes are sticky. And yeah, it's.
Have you even been outside today?
Yes, I have.
When did you go outside?
When I cleaned the litter box and took the trash.
You didn't clean. Those are two things that you've never done in your life.
I just did it.
Why would you choose to do that
I
this
would
morning?
like the record to reflect that when Michael was in bed asleep this morning, did the laundry, put in the thing to clean the washer, cleaned out the litter box, took it out, took the trash out. So I've been busy.
I like how you did all this allegedly while I was asleep in bed.
Well, Josh saw it, but Josh is at school.
Kind of
yeah, Josh saw it all.
Like the Easter bunny was still hanging around doing house chores.
Yes,
everyone was fast asleep.
Instead of a basket, that is what my Easter gift is to everyone, is to do some of those chores.
To do what you're expected to do.
So we can have a clean... Excuse me, there's no expected. Remember, we don't have gender roles and stereotypes.
No, I'm saying,
in our
but
household.
You're a member of the household. You got to chip in every once in a while with chores. You don't ever do that.
I do. So, okay, we're not going to have this argument. Oh my goodness, this is like not good podcast material.
I mean, you're the one coming in all cocky because you took out the trash for the first time in 2026.
No, the only thing that happened, the reason I said that, I was talking about pollen. And then you're like, have you been outside? And I was like, yes. And then you accused me of not being outside. And you're like, when did you go outside? So then I have to tell you I've been outside. I was not being cocky. I would have probably never told you. I cleaned the litter box and took the trash out. If you
Trust me, you would have told me. There's not been a time in our almost 28 years of marriage that you have done a house chore that you did not tell me you did it.
Well, okay.
Did you see who filled the dishwasher? Yeah, because it's half full and you started it.
Well, if you gave me a sticker chart, I would be more motivated to do these things. If you got some fun stickers and put it on the inside door there of our pantry, that would be different.
I'll do it.
That'll motivate me. I need like a little, like we used to try to do a little chore chart like for the kids, but I need to know what kind of stuff I get when I get enough stickers.
A Cadbury egg.
Yes, that would be, which, did we talk about that on here? What I do with the Cadbury eggs?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so it was shocking. Maria had her first Cadbury egg, which just stunned me. I can't comprehend.
She's never wanted one. So at
she's
20, she just ate her first one yesterday.
Okay, I like the way you said that because that's interesting. Because she told me when she was eating her first one that it's because I keep them so guarded that it's like my fault she's never had one, as if she doesn't go buy things she wants for herself anyway and couldn't have bought one and tried one. But she made it sound like
it's kind of like when Cam, our big dog, is eating and you try to take away his food and he starts growling.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we try to take away Cadbury eggs from you.
Yeah.
So, Maria was probably like, it's not worth getting bit by Mom.
But she said she liked it, but she didn't like it as much as the Reese's ones. But for me, is that inside that gooiness, that yellow white kind of icing stuff, because as we've talked about too, we had a surprise party for a friend and there was cake and I was like, I want a piece with a lot of icing because I think cake is just a carrier for the icing. But then I was sitting with somebody who didn't like the icing. So I was like, we'll be best friends forever because I can just get enough.
Who doesn't like icing?
I don't know, but
what a sociopath.
I know, it's kind of crazy. But that I think is what is so appealing about the Cadbury egg. It's got that. It's not a nougat. I don't know what it is. And they're only out.
A nougat. Look at you, Luke Dixon, throwing out these SAT words.
No.
You're the Luke Dixon of describing candy.
Of Cadbury eggs. Of Cadbury eggs. But anyway, it's so good. So anyway, you know this about me. So as soon as Cadbury eggs come out, you buy them. And so sometimes I'll come home and they'll come in a box of 4 on my pillow, or you'll buy them individually. But because...
And what did you say I do with them?
You might put them on my pillow, which is really sweet.
There we go.
But because these are they're a one time a year, there's a scarcity issue. You have to conserve them. So even though you may bring 10, I have to put them in my drawer by my bedside, and I have to like look at that egg. And every day that I may want one, I have to think, is this a Cadbury egg worthy moment? So most of the time it's like a pick me up when it's been a really bad day. So if you see me eating a Cadbury egg, you know I've been under some stress. So I've eaten through a lot of them lately, but I really try. So it's not like I sit down and do 4 in one setting. It's not even like I do them every day. It's like I have to think, is this the moment that justifies the Cadbury egg? And can I be fully present when I eat it? That's another thing. You can't pick it up and walk around and mindlessly eat it like you do some things that you can just have all the time. This is, you know, that it is a limited resource. And when they're gone until next year. So you have to like really think about savoring it and just being fully present in the moment. And that's why I get irritated if somebody comes in and interrupts me, like if I'm trying to like savor my Cadbury egg, you know, because it's a whole thing. But anyway, yeah, so Maria tried one. She liked it, but she didn't seem to appreciate it as much as I do.
I'm not a fan.
I don't understand that.
I don't like it.
Talk about a sociopath. And like you talk about people that don't like cake icing. Like
to me, they're right up there with Peeps. I think Peeps are trash.
Oh, well, Peeps are just, Peeps, the only thing that's good about Peeps is it's like, it's that chewy with that little bit of crunchy. So like, that's what's good about if you make homemade sugar cookies, you know, which I would do sometimes, and then we get the cream cheese icing and you put the sprinkles on it. I don't think the sprinkles, they don't really add flavor. It's kind of that texture, that crunchy texture that the sprinkles add. That's what Peeps have, is that texture. But I don't know that are there people that necessarily think Peeps are delicious, or is it kind of like it's just there? You want a little something sweet.
I think the Cadbury egg and Peeps are just gimmicks.
No, Cadbury egg is not. Peeps may be kind of like the candy hearts are at Valentine's, but better. They're better than the candy hearts at Valentine's. I mean, at least they're marshmallow with crunchy.
Candy corn.
Oh, well,
you know
I don't mind candy corn. I like candy corn. I like to nibble like the little white end, then you do the little yellow part, then the little like you nibble it like each part like a little chipmunk. Like or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so if any loyal listeners find Cadbury eggs, now that you know, I mean, they are kind of like gold. Like, I think if the economy continues
to Target right now and buy them probably 75% off.
Well, then I probably need to I've got like that Target 360 or something free for a year. I need to get like a delivery. I need to order enough that somebody will just deliver those to me today.
Bring me all the Cadbury eggs at Target.
Cadbury egg that there
like
is
Ron
there.
Swanson with eggs.
Yes, exactly. Just bring me all of them.
I'm afraid you didn't hear me. I said all Cadbury
exactly.
Eggs.
But and the other thing is, I don't know. I mean, I guess somebody could say they'd try to freeze them and stuff, but I just feel like that would interfere with the consistency.
Probably got so much preservatives, they probably just send them back to Cadbury, and Cadbury just puts them back out the next year.
Why are you such a like skeptical, pessimistic person about things?
Honestly, you know why I'm in this mood?
Yeah, why?
Artemis 2.
Oh, I thought because I cleaned the litter box. Okay, Here we go. Oh, I have been following, not in detail, but I've been watching some of the updates because I find it interesting to see what's going to happen and what things look like and what it's like. But I know you think it's a green screen. It's CGI.
I honestly do not believe they are up in space right now.
Okay. So
I don't. And when you look at the comments, like you go,
I know 50% of the population's like you because I'm not in the same algorithm as you. I tend to not. I'm not in the conspiracy.
You don't have to be.
I know.
You can look at
I'm looking at
official.
That's what I watch.
And then go
NASA.
Look at the comments.
I know, and the people are on there with NASA. There was also
2/3 are like, this is not real.
Do you know what else was interesting? So one of the astronauts talked about, well, whatever you want to call him, actors, whatever you'll call him. On Easter, he talked about kind of like being out in this expansive universe.
I saw it.
Yeah, but like all these people got mad and were like, how dare you reference like anything like a creator? But he was very vague. It wasn't like he was like, I don't know, quoting specific scripture or anything, but all these people
my friend Charles sent me that. I'd already seen it, but my friend Charles sent me that link.
Yeah.
He was like, this is pretty cool. I was like, yeah, too bad it's from an actor on a soundstage at an undisclosed location. I mean, it's
Again.
like, all right.
Again, why
If he
do
was
you have to
really
be
in
like
space
this?
looking at this and had this moment, but he didn't. He's just,
But
they're just hanging by wires in front of a green screen.
they are.
They are.
Oh, and how does her hair float then?
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
gosh, like you can't do that. I mean, you
And
can
she's not
simulate.
hanging from a wire, though. You're making it sound so ridiculous.
I'm telling you,
Like,
this. All right, the pictures they send are so grainy, and they're only sending one at a time. Like you've got people who do like free falls out of airplanes with GoPros that are capturing all kinds of stuff.
which my friend
that-
Kristen just did, by the
that
way.
are like-
She jumped out of a plane.
100 pictures per 100 frames per second or whatever it is. They're doing like 3 frames per second.
Okay.
It's like, what are you doing?
Let me ask you this question, and this is a sincere question. Okay, so just hear me out.
Yeah.
What would NASA and this crew need to do right now? How could they convince you and the other skeptics that they are truly in outer space?
Honest to God,
Yes.
take me with them.
Okay.
That's the only way.
Ridiculous,
That is
though.
the
That's like-
only way I will believe we've ever been up there.
Okay. Outside of that, is there anything, because this makes me want to right now write to NASA and be like, please, for the good of humanity, to prove this to these people, can you? I don't know I think this
But
is
see,
the
that's
problem.
what
But
happens.
this is an unwinnable situation.
Because they've painted themselves in this corner.
Uh-huh.
Because they lied back in the 60s.
Mhm.
Everyone now knows they lied, right? Like,
I don't.
yes.
Okay.
Because even
anyway.
if they went up there,
Uh-huh.
what they presented on television could not have happened. From the phone call to the videos, the pictures, all of that was reenactment, right?
Okay.
They may have been truly.
I'm not conceding.
That's fine.
I'm just saying,
saying
okay,
they could
I'm
have
not
really been in
conceding that point.
space.
Uh-huh.
They had no way to prove they were in space. So they created this fictional imagery to put out on television.
Because they believe a picture's worth 1,000 words,
Yes.
and they could tell us. So let's do. Okay,
And now,
I'm following your. I'm not saying I
60
believe,
years
but I follow.
later, it's been proven that none of that was real. Like none of the stuff they showed on
Who
television
has
is
proven this? Is it in some released documents from the feds that I can go reference?
Every person that has done just 10 seconds worth of investigations into this. You could poke holes all in it. Again, I'm not saying they didn't go up. They very well could have back in 60 whatever. But what they portrayed to the public, I do not believe is real. So now everything they do is going to be viewed through the lens of skepticism.
Okay,
So-
but then how does someone who then lies once, your child lies to you once, how do they ever regain credibility? I guess that's the question I'm trying to ask. How would NASA, they cannot take every you, because even if they took you up, people would be like, well, now he's just bought in.
compromised. Yeah, I understand. Well, that's
How
the
do
problem.
they?
They can't. There's some things you cannot recover from. And I believe that is one of them.
This is really interesting from a pastor who preaches a lot about grace and forgiveness and
All
things
right.
that, like, you did one thing. Totally different leaders in this agency, totally different everything. And because of that, you'll never.
Okay,
I mean,
it's the same thing with any government cover-up. Did the JFK assassination happen the way it did? No. No one believes, nobody believes that it really happened the way the government said it did. So when you have an organization like our U.S. government that has time and time again put out less than truthful statements because they're trying to cover up things, that makes you automatically never believe them. So it's not even just NASA. It's not like they lied once and I don't believe them. They are part of a greater organization, which is our government, which has, for whatever reason, for 200 years, suppressed information because they didn't want certain people to look bad or they didn't want certain people to get upset. And now that's what discredits them.
Well, I'm not saying I do know because I've read, I mean, there's legitimate stuff about that's why we have a lot of the things we have now in research studies to protect people, like all the informed consent and the disclosures, because yes, the government even was part of some of those experiments and stuff that universities and people did. I am not disagreeing that our government has withheld information, sometimes lied, been manipulative. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to discredit everything. You have to have some things that you can look
No,
at and be
I
like,
totally disagree. I think you can get to a point where benefit of a doubt is no longer given. You have to prove to me this is the truth versus I'm going to take you at your word.
which I
until you prove me
understand,
wrong.
but you have just told me that there's no way they can prove it. That's my problem
No, they
with
can.
this by taking you.
Yes.
Okay, I will write to NASA. This
That
is
is
kind of
the
like
only way.
when you did the video to be on Survivor, or when you used to think you could be on Naked and Afraid. This is going to be your next thing, that Mike will be an astronaut.
No, I don't-
you
I'm
know.
not begging to be. I know they didn't go up there.
Oh, gosh.
So it's like,
Okay.
what are they going to do? Like,
What if I went? If I went, would you believe me if I radioed back? Oh, so like if NASA comes and
because
it's like,
you
okay,
are such a science nerd, you would do whatever it took to protect the image of science. You'd be like, well, if I tell people we really didn't go up there, nobody's gonna believe
that
science.
is not
So
true
I've
all.
I've gotta say we did.
No,
I've
that
gotta
is not
protect
true.
science
I
at
could
all
still
costs.
talk. That is not true at all. But I do believe in science and love science and stuff, but that is not true. Which, speaking of science, I do have to do one other thing. Well, you did a comedy thing and somebody asked you if you talked about something. That's what I was going to leave. Like, you had a comedy show, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Luke, since he came up, was like, because the comedy show is in Stokes County, my home county,
Oh, yeah.
where they have now just agreed, I'm going to crusade for two things right now in my life, and I'll tell you what they both are in a second. But Luke was like, oh, did he do any jokes about data centers, or is it too soon? I was like, that is too soon. Thank goodness. I think it's the Southern Environmental Law Center. This made me think about this because it's about science, also about communities and oppression and greed and corporate greed and manipulation, I think, in the government, all of these things.
There you go.
But they voted. I do not believe for a minute there might have been 10 people out of the entire county that seemed like they wanted a data center there because they believed it would bring jobs. But when you do all the research, it brings 0 jobs after all the construction. It drains the power. They pass on the cost of the increased power, like from Duke Power. They're going to pass it on to all the citizens to pay for it. It's going to destroy the environment. It will destroy Dan River. It will destroy the animals around there. There are people whose like burial grounds, I think, are there. There's all sorts of things going on that it's going to destroy. And thank goodness there are still some organizations out there that will fight that. But anyway, so one crusade, and I know, and also I do want to put one other thing. These data centers, I know everybody's like,
You know how you could fight it?
stop using AI.
Stop using AI, stop saving stuff in the cloud, all that stuff.
That's what I was going to say, because this is part of our problem.
Your problem.
The world's problem. The world's problem. It's not just AI. Now, AI is a very heavy drain on it from what I've read, but it is also, it's all those things like you call your Uber, the software to do that. It's like in a data center. Amazon's tracking a package. Like all these things that we have just gradually built into our daily, this 360 order that I was joking about, which I won't do. I'll go buy my own Cadbury eggs, but if I had, probably Target software for me to make that order and then to do that would be in the cloud. So I don't know what the answer is going to be, because I don't think it would be so simple. I mean, a lot of us are trying to like lessen or not use AI, but AI is also now built in to like Outlook, to all those things. Anyway, but I just say all that to say, there has to be better ways scientifically, better placement of these AI data centers. There have to be better places we can put it that aren't always. This just makes me mad, because this is no different than like what they would do to Appalachian coal miners or anybody else. They take these rural communities where people don't have the resources and may not have, and when I say resources, I don't just mean money. I mean connections to people or whoever can help them, and they just prey upon them.
Look at you, Aaron Brockovich, getting all fired up over here.
It just makes me so angry at what because I'm so angry on behalf of the animals and plants that will die, the water that will be consumed. I'm sure there are a million better, safer ways to do these data centers. but it costs more. I'm sure I think other countries have. And so my thing is like, we have got to, as a society, everyone's not going to stop using this stuff. So we have to figure out ways to do it. And now they're wanting to put one in Forsyth County and Rural Hall, and people are trying to fight that. And I'm like, what? Are we going to put one in every county now? Is every county in America going to have one of these massive data centers? I never liked that movie, Wall-E. You know, Maria liked it. I didn't like it. But that movie is like, that's what it is. It's like the world is like everybody's using their visual, you know, things to their own. What do you call those things? You know, the little things you put over your eyes and you're watching the VRs. Yeah. Everybody's using those in those movies. And meanwhile, the world's just trashed around them as they're like doing that. But anyway, so one crusade, I don't like data centers and I don't like the way they're preying on innocent communities. Part two, my other crusade is for anyone who doesn't have a credit card to maybe get one. I had a friend at church and her dad died. And so we were talking about how many people have like one spouse will have a credit card or source of, you know, the like financial, like if they have to have a backup one. And then the other spouse is an authorized user on it. And so if that spouse dies, then that can be frozen or tied up and you don't have access. And so as I've started talking about this and asking people, there's a lot of people that don't have their own credit card or don't know. Yes, you do. Oh my gosh. The other thing is, you know, just like knowing about.
You've got every credit card I ever had. I have my debit card.
No, you have credit cards in your name that you are not the authorized user.
You said I'm just the authorized user.
No, you are not just the authorized user. You have your own credit card. You have your own credit.
I have that green one. Is that in my name?
No, we don't like the green credit card. Okay, so those are my crusades right now. But back to, let's rewind. We got off on Cadbury eggs and chores and NASA. Where do we need to go back to? The last time we all talked, we talked about our women's retreat and stuff.
It was last week. Let's just fast forward to this weekend.
What did we get Friday? We had a Good Friday service.
We had a Good Friday service at church.
Yes.
How was that?
It was good. It was good on Good Friday.
It was average.
Well,
it was an average service on Good Friday. There were some technical glitches.
We had a few. But it was still, I just think it was good to be there, to like, I don't know. I liked, my favorite part is everyone had on, it was like a theme. They had on these black shirts, kind of like a somber Good Friday. Mike had chosen to wear a Hawaiian shirt.
A very bright Hawaiian shirt.
And you did the last reading. So you have all these, like, the whole band, every reader, everybody's got on these dark, somber colors. They're doing the reader. And then here comes Mike. Look at me. I forgot it was Good Friday.
I was trying to get on that Reddit forum I was telling you about. Are you the main character?
Yes, that's the...
No, to be fair, I'm going to throw Tim under the bus.
Oh, okay.
Our pastor, Tim.
It won't matter. Tim doesn't listen to us.
Mm-hmm. I had asked him no less than 10 times, do you need me to do anything at this service? And we have been transitioning to the point of me giving up the leadership of being lead pastor to Tim now for a few years.
Yeah.
So Tim's at that point now where he's that teenager that's like, no, Dad, I got it. I don't need your help. I got it.
Oh, he's going to love being described this way.
That's exactly how he is. I would tell him. So he was like, no, I got it. I'm good. I'm like, you sure you don't need my help? No, I got it. So 5 minutes before the service, Tim comes up. Hey, could you do the last reading? I was like, why are you I asked you 10 times this week. And Tim was like, oh, can you just read it or not? I was like, fine, I'll read it. And then I wasn't even thinking about my shirt until we got in.
You should have given it to me to read because I think I had on a black shirt. No, I had on a navy blue shirt.
You did.
Yes.
And so we got in our group to pray before the service, and Laura was like.
And as y'all were praying, I could see him there. Like everybody's in black, and then there's you standing out. Oh, gosh.
I was like, I just found out I'm reading. He did the same thing to Maria on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that was a classic. But Maria set herself up a little bit for that. But yes, she had on pajamas on Christmas Eve. What did Laura say about your shirt?
She was just like, why are you not wearing black? I was like, what do you mean? It still didn't even dawn on me. She was like, it's Good Friday. We're all wearing black. I was like, well, Tim just asked me 3 minutes ago to read. Like, I wasn't even planning on being seen. I was just going to sit in the audience.
It was awesome. But then after that, we have a new tradition, second annual eating out tradition. After
Blue
Good
Rock.
Friday, we go
Good
to
Friday, Blue Rock.
Yeah, so last year, Jerry and Bill and who went last year?
Yeah, it was just Bill and Jerry, Daniel, Callie, and us.
Yeah, and I don't know if our kids were there last year. I can't remember.
Josh would have been, but I don't know about the other
Yeah, I
two.
don't think the other two were. But anyway, so we went to Blue Rock. So this year they asked to do the same thing. So after the service, we're tying everything up. We go to Blue Rock, which is a pizza joint.
And this time they added Tim and Wendy.
They added Tim and Wendy. We could grow every year. So the third annual.
No, because we had to wait an hour for a table. Because there was people, they had these giant tables at Blue Rock that seat like 10 people. And there was a family of
12?
3. There was 10
that
of
was
us.
sitting at a
And
big,
a family of 3 sitting at one table. And another table, they had already eaten and paid and continued to sat there for like another 30 or 40 minutes just talking. And I'm like...
Maybe they're European because I think they linger over meals and stuff. But in America, we got to turn the table over. I know it's cultural. I know.
Not just to the people wanting to eat, but to the waiters and waitresses.
Yeah, because they got to rely on tips. Yeah, I know. It's such a different cultural clash there. But anyway, so we went to do that. That was a lot of fun. But one thing that was established what was it? Maria said, I sure hope the Easter Bunny's still going to see me and bring a basket or something like that.
Which I was firmly against this year.
Yeah.
I'm like, 2 of our 3 kids are adults. Josh doesn't care about anything. He's like the most indifferent kid we have. He's like, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets it, great. If he don't, great. So I'm like,
it's not like he's ungrateful. He just doesn't expect anything.
It doesn't.
He goes through life with... At Emmaus, they used to say, don't anticipate, just participate. So, don't be anticipating things, just participate. That's how Josh lives his life. He's never anticipating anything. He's not anticipating he'll get anything or anything like that.
He's just a kid that lives in life.
Moment. Yeah.
I'm just I'm going to participate today, whatever today has.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So, so I was not going to do baskets this year. I was like, there's no sense. At that point, we didn't even know if Jacob was going to come home. Maria's 20, almost 21. Josh don't care. Why do them?
Well, because Jerry does.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. I'm going to send her the bill.
Jerry was like, oh, and Maria's like, ooh, I'm liking the sound of that as she's hearing about it. But yeah, so Jerry talked about doing that. But anyway, so we got to eat and talk about travel and things and just life. And so that was fun. And then do you want to go to the Easter baskets now since we brought that up or talk about Saturday?
I mean, what's there to talk about the Easter baskets any more than that?
Well, what we got them.
Yeah, we don't need to go on all that.
Okay, but the one thing we do have to talk about is Maria likes, you call them mystery boxes, but quote, blind boxes. So Maria was very excited to have a blind box. She has all these plushy things that hang off of her purse. She has one of those Labubu's that I've talked about. She also has those Smiskies, those green things that are kind of plastic on her phone. And then she had this one little thing. It's like a little angel, but its butt was...
She don't even care what's in these blind boxes. She just loves the thrill of opening them.
Because she always looks, and she looks on the side of the box. So the blind box, this one, you could have gotten a taco, a chicken nugget, a boba tea.
Yeah.
It was any number. There were 12 options. So she goes through and she's like, oh, I really hope I get this, or it's so cute, or whatever. So then she opens it, and it's always a thing. And then this one she got was a chicken nugget, and she loved it because it even had a little bit of dip in the corner. You said you would have never even known it was a chicken nugget when you looked at it.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Anyway, but this blind box thing is wish I would have come up with it, because they're not cheap, and whoever's doing this is making a gazillion dollars off the people like Maria that have that thrill of the surprise.
I'm going to break it to you. You know what the original blind box was? Baseball cards.
You're right, though.
People didn't, and that's what fed into a sports fan's addictive personality is buying
That's led
these,
to gambling?
Yeah. That they want to buy these packs of cards. They want to open the cards. And the thrill is just opening just to see if you get player you want.
Yeah. Are you going to get the player you want, or this very special card, or this
Which
rare
was fine.
card?
When I was growing up, packs of baseball cards were I don't know, 25 to 50 cents. I remember
Any
when,
person could afford a pack of baseball
like,
cards.
I remember when Upper Deck, back in like maybe 1989, came out with the first dollar pack. People went nuts. They were like, $1 for a pack of baseball cards? You can't even, a pack of baseball cards now, some of them are like 10, 15 bucks, and it has like 5 cards in it.
Didn't we talk about our books too? We're not even making enough money. You didn't make it. How many Kindle books would people have to read for you to even buy a pack of baseball cards?
Too many.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, but they're doing all this stuff now where they're putting in like one of one. Like there's only one card of this entire existence, or there's 10, or there's 50, and they have all this. So it's essentially gambling. You're just buying these packs of cards now and opening them, hoping that you get something that you can turn around and sell.
It's like that dopamine.
Yeah,
hit.
it is.
Like
and that's what these blind boxes are with
yeah.
these girls now. They're experiencing what little boys grew up with baseball cards.
Or like with Pokemon cards, I assume.
Pokemon,
yeah, any of those types of things that people did.
Anything that's hidden, you get that dopamine.
That hit. But isn't that too the same thing? It's kind of sad. Baseball, I think what's sad about particularly the baseball cards and baseball, we've even talked about that. That was the sport too that could have been affordable to anybody, like, and even it's gotten more, like, to go to games and stuff, major league games, like the legit professional sport, like football, professional football tickets and stuff. So out of reach. And baseball, what used to be that was even, we would go to Atlanta to watch the Braves and take the whole family. Like we would travel and stay in a hotel and go see a game cheaper, that whole thing than you could do a lot of any other sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. But everything's out of the reach of people there.
The common man like us.
Yes. By the way, I did a training about Netflix. I'll tell you about that some other time, but it made me think about their mail order services, something I learned when I was doing my training on difficult conversations. I guess no one would know that I would train people about having difficult conversations when you and I have these difficult conversations all the time on this podcast, don't we?
Yeah, I'm not scared of you. I'll push back.
Okay, so we had Saturday. So Good Friday, we have Friday, obviously. Saturday.
We'll just say Saturday. Sunday, we had Easter Sunday at church, which was a really good service.
It was really good.
It was packed.
It was, and what was so interesting, we had a few visitors, and I don't know how many other churches are like this, because our church is mission-driven. We've got all ages. So now we had a lot of babies. We've got young families, we've got middle-aged folks, and then we've got some older folks. And so, but a lot of people who travel, they'll go camping, so they'll be gone a few weeks, or people who are, just like a lot of churches, I think, have the people who travel, but we may even have people like that are on mission trips or that are out serving. So it's very rare, I feel like, to have everybody there. And we were packed and had to bring out more chairs. But I looked around. It wasn't like there were a ton of visitors. It was just we actually had almost everyone that attends our church there at the same time, which was like really kind of neat.
Yeah.
But it rained, so that interfered with the egg hunt. But we did a breakfast potluck kind of thing.
The breakfast was packed and tons of food.
And got to just hang out and talk to everybody. And then the service was creative and different, I feel like.
You thought it was?
I did think it was, because you and Tim both spoke, and you kind of had it divided and communion in the middle, but you had the different focuses and stuff. So it was just different than, which is good, because I feel like y'all do try to do different things for the Easter service. And that's not...
I don't know if our goal got across, but our goal was between him and I both preaching, and we didn't preach full sermons.
No.
The goal was a 10-minute sermon. Mine may have been a little longer. But so we did music, and then I preached on essentially what is Easter. Like, why is Easter important?
Why are we here?
And I will say, I thought it was probably one of my most evangelistic sermons I've done in many, many, many years.
Yeah, because you don't typically do those. Yeah. I mean, not in a bad way, but that's just not,
I mean, this was it was like, are you right with God?
Yeah, kind of thing.
I mean, it was really like, here's some questions you need to answer today.
Yeah.
And then we did communion as a bridge.
Yeah.
And then Tim got up and preached on all right, so what happens now?
Yeah.
You know,
what
like,
are you going
what's
to do
next?
with this?
What are you going to do
Yes.
with Easter?
Yeah. Mhm.
So I laid the foundation of what is Easter,
and then he's
why
like,
it's important to us.
go
and then
forth
he
and
took-
live Easter.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it was, and then we went and ate Chinese.
Yeah, because that's a traditional, like, Easter meal. I was really thrilled, too, because Jacob and Maria both have jobs, but Jacob and Maria both have jobs that are essentially retail food services. And that means that they work not great hours. They work on weekends. And so Maria had to work really late Saturday night, but she still got up and got ready, which for Maria, she's like me, we have time blindness. So that was quite the feat. She was ready on time and everything. So I was kind of a little sad, but totally understanding on Saturday because Jacob his job's in Boone, and that's about an hour and 40 minutes, hour and 45 minutes from us. And so his whole thing was he's also got an 8 or 9 a.m. class on Monday. So he was like, if I don't get off because I'm closing, and then I'd have to go home and pack and stuff. So he wasn't going to make it home Saturday night. So he was like, I don't know that I'm going to drive home Sunday, try to get to church on time, stay just a few hours and drive back. But he decided to do that, which I was really thankful for because, we've had some holidays without all of us together. And so I just treasure the times when, you can have everybody together. And as our parents are aging and stuff, it was really nice because my parents, your parents, the kids, you and I, all of us went for traditional Easter meal of Chinese food. And so
That was good. We had everybody all together.
We had everybody. Yeah.
It was the grandparents, our whole family.
The kids.
So it was nice.
It was really nice. And then, when Jacob came back, just hung out and talked, which I don't know. Not even watching TV or playing. I mean, it was just for a few hours, just hanging out and talking, which was really cool, I think, to have. So, so I was really thankful for that. So, it was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, which I think, the family and being with your friends and people you love. And it was just really neat too, I think, just at church on Sunday, just seeing all the people, I don't know. It's neat seeing all the different generations that are there, seeing the excitement of all the kids that were there, just seeing.
There was a ton of energy.
We had, it was. That was the other thing I think that was really cool about the service is everybody brought a lot of energy,
Yeah.
So, so that was cool. So Saturday,
I had my big stage debut.
Yes.
So
in my hometown.
In your home
county, not hometown. Yeah.
You're not as big time as Walnut Cove.
No, Walnut Cove was a lot bigger. They have stoplights. My hometown does not have stoplights.
I guess it does have one stoplight, yeah.
Danbury?
No.
Oh,
Cove.
yeah. Walnut Cove has a stoplight. Yeah. And a roundabout or two.
Yeah.
I mean, they are next level.
Yeah.
Until the data center messes it up. But anyway, go ahead. So you were there.
So I'll give my perspective of what happened, and then you can give your perspective.
Yes.
There were two totally different perspectives.
Right. Yes.
So our friend Taylor Vaden is a award-winning songwriter, singer, local to this area. Great dude. Younger than us. I mean, he's, you think? Yeah, I'm guessing mid-30s at most.
Yeah, at most, yeah.
Him and Leanne, and they have a little daughter, Paisley, that's 4. I think she just turned 4.
Yeah.
Great couple, great. We love Taylor. He found out I did this stand-up comedy class. So just on knowing me and I guess young foolishness, asked if I would come open for him. All I'd ever done really, and I've chronicled this, you can go back and listen. I did the 5-week stand-up comedy class. I had the stand-up comedy graduation class. And then I did one open mic.
And Taylor's seen and heard none of these.
Right.
He's seen you do a wedding, which didn't have a lot of comedy in it. He's performed at our church, but
he just
there was
saw
no
that I had
routine.
posted on social media I'd done this.
Yeah.
And so he commented, it was like, man, we need to do a show together.
Yeah.
Well, then it turns out he was like, I've got April the 4th. He's like releasing my new album that night. I'm going to be at the Palmetto Theater in Walnut Cove. Stokes County is one of our more rural counties in North Carolina. Walnut Cove is probably its second biggest town. But they have an old movie theater that was built in the 40s that some folks have gotten together and I guess bought and renovated. And
my
now,
mom used to go to the movies there.
She did?
My
She was a
mom,
little
she was a
girl, she
little
said.
girl.
Yeah.
So it's
so
been
it
around.
may have been around in the 20s then, I guess is what you're saying.
Mom, I'm sorry. Anyway, that he said that.
So they've renovated it. And now it's a legit like concert venue,
Yeah.
and they still show old movies. I think they're showing Jaws in a week or two, something like that. I don't know. But so on Saturdays, afternoons, they show like old movies. But at nights, on Friday, Saturday nights, they have concerts. And so Taylor was doing a concert there. He does 5 concerts a year at the Palmetto, and each one of them's different.
Yeah.
And so this one was just going to be an album release that he did, a new album where he recorded acoustic hymns, basically. And so he was going to release it that night. And
kind of a kickoff to Easter, too, since it's the night
it
before
was
Easter.
Yeah, obviously it was on Easter weekend. And so he asked me to open. So, I get there, the band's warming up. He lets me set up a little table that has our books and stuff on it, and even lets me borrow a tablecloth so it looks halfway professional. And so I put out all 3 of our books out on the table, and doors opened at 6, show started at 7. And he had told me before, he's like, I think we sold about 80 some tickets pre-sale. And he was like, we'll just see how Walk Up is. And at one point he was like, Walk Up is doing really well. He's like, I think we're going to have almost a full house. And we did. Like, it was pretty packed. And I'm going to guess, I know they have 120 permanent seats, and then they had like another 60 seats set out, like really nice, comfortable chairs, stackable chairs that were out. So there's probably 180 seats that were available. There had to have been
the whole bottom.
Yeah, I mean, there had to have been, they didn't even open the balcony. They're still working on it. But so I had to be, I'm going to guess 120, 140 people. He had almost as many walk-ups as he had pre-sale.
Yeah.
So it was pretty full. So the guy that owns it and runs it, the main guy, Durwood.
Yes.
Durwood Bennett is somehow related to Beth.
He's my kin, as my dad would say. That's your kin. Kinfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Durwood, before it starts, tells me, he's like, hey, I've got to run the sound. He was like, so when you walk out on stage, I'll just put the spotlight on you and you can just welcome everybody and go. So I'm like, I was thinking I was going to get introduced, but now I'm having to be MC and, comedian. So
if I could have worn like a full sequin outfit like Elton John wore, I would have introduced you. But because I wasn't fully dressed for something that cool, I didn't do that. Next time, if I can really wear a full sequin outfit
Stokes
with
County's
boots and
own.
stuff. Yeah.
Beth Mabe Giannopoulos can be there.
Yeah, you got to put the Mabe in when you go to Stokes County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I walked out and outside we had a lot of church people there. We probably had 20 people from church there.
Yeah.
But outside of those 20 and then our family, nobody knew who I was.
Right.
So they just thought I was a roadie walking out there. I'm sure I just walked out on stage. I'm like moving the mic stand. I'm like, everybody's just sitting there like, who's this guy, And
But before you do that, you had your background that was so professional up on the screen.
Yeah. So Taylor had a little logo. I didn't even think about them having a big movie screen.
Yeah,
but Taylor had a logo
up
while his band was practicing. So I was like, I wonder if I can get a logo done super fast. So I sat there and pulled up Canva and just started like throwing some stuff together and working on some stuff and came up with the logo I thought was pretty cool. So it
looked really good. I mean, no one would have thought that it
was done in 5 minutes.
No.
So then when Taylor finished, I was like, I got a logo I can send you if you want. He's like, send it to me. So I sent it, and it was cool because it was in the background as I was speaking. So
it looked really neat.
It made me look really professional.
It did, yeah.
And the kids even liked the logo because they were just like, oh, gosh, this is going to be crap.
Yeah.
And then even Maria, who's like very judgmental when it comes to that stuff, was like, oh, that is really good. I was like, well, thank you.
Yeah, I was trying to see, I took a bunch of pictures, but I was trying not to be obnoxious, but like,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's got like MG and a little microphone by it, and it's Mike Giannopoulos. It looked really good. Yeah.
I'll put it out on social media. So anyway, I walk out. I welcome everybody, talk about the Palmetto, talk about Taylor, and then I just get into my jokes. And I had about 13 minutes, which it was almost exactly 13 minutes. I timed it that night. But I started off with Stokes County. and
Yep.
got to kind of talk about some Stokes County. I used Stokes County as a joke, but not in a way that was putting down Stokes County.
It's about the small town and the different, like,
I'll just tell you,
people.
like, Beth's last name is Mabe. And this was a true story. I was like, you know, when I met my wife 30 years ago, she's the first Mabe I ever met. And then I thought she was 1 in a million. And then I started coming up to Stokes County and found out she wasn't 1 in a million. She was 1 of a million.
Yes.
And
There's a lot of Mabes.
And people cut that because everybody there is a Mabe, was a Mabe, or knows a Mabe.
Or knows a Mabe. Or married a Mabe. Or,
Because I even fact checked it. I went to ChatGPT and I said, what is the most common last name in Stokes County, North Carolina? Number 1 was Mabe.
Mabe. Mm-hmm.
So, number 2 was Bennett.
Which is funny because Durwood Bennett, that's also my kin. A lot of the Mabes married Bennetts.
And then it was like Harrison and Langford, which is
also my family.
Yes.
That's all
the
my
top
family.
4.
That is in my mom's side and my dad's side. That's all my family. Yeah.
So Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And I just killed a tree, I guess, when I did that.
Or destroyed a bottle's worth of water. But yeah.
So this is where it went off the rails for me.
Mm-hmm.
Durwood did a great job with the sound, except he didn't turn the monitors off when I was up there. So as I'm speaking, the monitors are blasting back at me. Musicians need this because they need to hear
what they're doing.
Because everything's so loud. I don't need that.
Right.
I didn't need any monitors at all, but all I heard was my voice.
Can I ask a question? Is it almost like sometimes if you're on Teams or Zoom and I don't know why it does this sometimes, but if somebody hasn't muted, there's just a second delay, so you're hearing yourself back.
Yeah, there was
just kind of like that.
Just the millisecond, just enough, and it was so loud I couldn't tell how loud I was getting because all I could hear was the monitors.
Right,
and so I couldn't gauge. Am I being too loud? Am I not being too loud?
And then you're
just
distracted by that little bit of that feedback of your own voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they, for whatever reason, however they had it set up, the front row was a good distance away from the stage.
Yeah.
You could have driven at least one car in between the two, if not 2 cars.
Yeah.
It was substantial. And so because the lights are so bright, which that happens when you're on stage, people don't realize this, you usually don't see anybody but the first 2 rows.
Right.
Because it's so black out
you can't see any
in the auditorium.
And you've got
the
those
lights are so bright.
Yeah.
Well, where the seats were moved so far back, I couldn't even see the front row.
Right.
So I could see nobody. So it was like I was just speaking into this black hole.
Can I say something really interesting, though? But, like, it was funny because I felt like a few times you looked directly at me and Josh. I guess that was just by chance that you were looking in that direction when you said something. Yeah. I could not tell that you couldn't see anybody.
Yeah, I mean, and that comes from, again,
just speaking
for 30 years. You learn just to kind of like how to hold the mic, how to move the mic from hand to hand without it. You know, you just learn these little nuances of stage presence. And so I kept moving my eyes around like I could see everybody.
Yeah.
I couldn't see one soul.
Which is why I thought you could.
And then the worst thing was this theater is, it was set up for movies.
Yeah.
It wasn't set up for this.
Yeah.
So it's entirely concrete.
Right.
But the ceiling is massive.
Yeah,
that ceiling
really high.
is 30 feet tall
ceiling.
At least.
Yeah.
So what would happen was I would tell jokes. Nobody was laughing. Like not one. Like I could not hear one person
from your
laugh.
perspective.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. From my perspective.
Yeah.
Because they were laughing, but they were so far away, and it was so cavernous in this theater. Their laughter was just getting lost in the vastness of this building.
Right. Yeah.
And so here I am on stage. All I hear is myself, which I don't want to hear. I can't see a single soul because it's pitch black, and I don't hear one laughter.
Right.
So that was the longest 13 minutes of my life. I'm just like, I cannot believe I am bombing so bad. Like it was.
Did you
horrible.
feel like you were doing worse than you did at your open mic?
I wouldn't say worse, but the same.
You
You
felt
know,
kind of
like
that sinking feeling.
it was just like
as
no
you're
one's laughing.
Yeah.
You know, I kept doing the jokes.
Yeah.
I did cut out a few things because I'm like, gosh, they're not laughing at this. I'm just
Mm.
going to move on to something else. And so,
Which is unfortunate. I wish I knew what you cut out because but we'll talk about my perspective in a second. But yeah.
and I learned that from Nate Bargatze.
Uh-huh.
Nate talks about, when he talks about comedy, he says, I try to model my comedy after Nate Bargatze and Jim Gaffigan
Mm-hmm.
that tell real life stories
Mm-hmm.
with little funny stuff in there,
Mhm.
you know, highlighting the funniness of what makes this story
Yeah.
so crazy.
Mhm.
So that's what I do. But Nate talks about in every one of his stories, he has off ramps
Mm-hmm.
where he says, I know if I get to a certain point in this story and joke, if I feel like the audience is starting to check out on it,
Mhm.
I'll take the off ramp and move on to something
Yeah.
else. So believe it or not, I've crafted these jokes to have these stories to have 2 or 3 off ramps.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took an off ramp, the first off ramp I could in one of the stories. And I'm just like, well, it's not working. I'm just going to go ahead and pull off and go on to something
Right.
else. But had I known people were actually enjoying it, I would have kept going.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I finished, you know, went to the back, sat down, and I was so bummed out. I was like sitting there sweating.
Yeah.
Like sweat was coming down my head. I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I could go home right now, I would.
Yeah. You just sneak out
And-
the back door and
there
leave.
was like part of me that was like, just text Beth and say, pack up our books at intermission.
Yeah.
Like, I was so embarrassed
Mhm.
and I just thought it was horrible. So much so that I didn't even want to walk back out in front of everybody. So I actually went out the side door,
Mhm.
walked around the outside of the building, came in the main entrance, and went and sat on the back row in the corner
Yeah.
to listen to Taylor's first set before intermission. And I was just like, it was awful.
And I had texted you that it was great.
Yeah,
or
I
whatever.
texted Beth like, I think I texted you.
You
and I
texted
was
and said,
like,
I bombed. Or you said that was awful. I bombed. And I was like, no, you didn't. What are you talking about? But before you even got to hear my feedback, other people talk to you there too?
I mean, people are coming up. They're like, oh, that was good. You know, but you know,
You never know if they're just saying that.
I'm used to that in like after Sunday services. People
yeah.
come up, good sermon, Pastor. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you weren't even listening.
Yeah.
You were asleep. You know, like,
Yeah.
so you don't know if people really thought it was
Yeah.
funny.
So Josh and I got there, and even I had not been in this theater before, and it was kind of like walking back in time. There was a guy at the window with a big cowboy hat but a suit. I mean, he looked like a Nashville guy. You know, he's got on this suit and that hat, and so he's doing the tickets, and they got the little lights there as it's getting dark on the front. So we walk in, and it's this little bitty lobby, one restroom on the side and the other on another, women and men, and then popcorn and water, which was very reasonable because I turn around at intermission and Josh has popcorn and water, and he's like, I bought this with my own money. And I'm like, how much was it? And it was like $1 for the popcorn or something. But Taylor had graciously saved 2 seats, and Maria was working and Jacob was working, so they couldn't come. So it was perfect. So Josh and I got to be on the second row. So we came in, we were able to hug Taylor and say, hey, but we couldn't see you because you were backstage or whatever. So we got to sit on the second row. And like when you started going, like what I was trying to explain to you, it's also people were laughing, but like you could hear different parts of the room laughing at different points because it's so big. I think that was I think a few things for you. One is it's really hard if you are literally the very first person opening, because I just did a training for new faculty. And even with that, even though I was the first speaker, they had done an icebreaker and had some people introduce it, you know, and I just think there's something about that, you know, because that's kind of, you're warming people up, you know, so that's hard. And then the second thing about being distracted, it's crazy because I have a personal phone and a work phone. And when I was doing my talk, I always make sure all my phones are on silent. Well, my personal phone, of course, one of those spam calls comes in. I'm like halfway through my talk and I'm like, oh, sorry, y'all. And thank goodness on my watch, I hit it. But then the whole time in the back of my mind, as I'm doing my talk, I'm thinking, I can't stop and put it on silent. What if somebody else calls? So I just say all that to say, unless somebody's done something like this, I don't think they can appreciate how much those little things distract you and kind of I mean, you made to the audience look like you're great, which I never knew any of that based on what
And they
you
were
were
having
saying.
issues with the lights. I don't know if you saw that. The lights were coming
they-
off and on,
they were
like the
blinking.
stage lights.
Yes,
They were having some issues while Taylor and them were warming up, and they thought they had it fixed, but they didn't. So you had the lights also
doing that.
going
and then,
like off and on
and then
on
you've got your
stage.
sound a little bit. And those things, even if nobody else sees it in your own head, it's interfering with your flow, I guess. Like you can't like just kind of get fully into the moment because you're thinking, well, oh, the light did that, or I'm hearing that feedback, or they feed. And I can also see too the challenge in you. I feed off of my audience. I don't know that I could do that without seeing people. I would have to see a few faces. Now, that works. You and I have talked about this to our detriment, because if you could have seen everybody's face and everybody looks like they hate you or something, or they're not smart, but I find those few people, I look all around the audience too, but I find those few people that are smiling or taking notes or like shaking their head, you know, and I zero in on those people.
That's what I do too.
And then if I make a little joke and they chuckle, like I watch them, and that's who I just say all that to say that has got to be so hard, because then it's almost like you're just talking to the wall. Like we've even talked about with prayer, sometimes when you're feeling distant from God and you're like, well, I might as well be talking to the wall. I'm just praying out to nothing. I feel like that's how you must have felt. But from our perspective, we're sitting there. So I'm hearing laughter from around the sides. It was loud. Everything was loud that night, but like, it wasn't like you were screaming at us or something. It was not like that. It was no louder than anything else. There was no like feedback or anything for us. That was something only you were experiencing. And as I just said, there are a few times like you looked directly at me and I thought you could see, because I was trying to hold the phone. I was trying to, without, being obvious, like get some pictures and stuff. So I thought you could see me like shake my head or, like, oh yeah, give that feedback, but you couldn't. But people were laughing, and they were laughing. It was interesting at different points, different people in different areas were laughing kind of spread out. But that's the final piece I will say. This was a bigger audience, more spread out. That comedy club was so intimate and small, and we were crammed in there together, which may be by design. So when you collectively hear it, you can really get, even if it's a lot less people, sort of that volume and that feedback, where when this was so big and far away, if somebody's laughing way in the back, that's so far away from you, like it was interesting. But yeah, I think people were definitely engaged, and which we'll talk about some people coming up at the end and funny things. And then when Taylor did his music, it was great too. Even Josh is like, I like, old Southern hymns and stuff like that. But that was really cool too, because Taylor had such an incredibly talented band. He's talented himself. I'd heard Taylor, but he had this guy, Rocky, that played the keyboard that was just outstanding. The guitar player that's from Nancy Reynolds or he's from
Pilot Mountain.
Pilot Mountain area. Yeah. Amazing. The guy that did like the percussion. I mean, they were just so good. And it was cool because Taylor kind of went back and he was just laid back. He went back and did some of his older stuff, and then he progressed and did like his new hymns and things. And it was, I think for me, it was really fun because like I love like the arts and things like that. We've talked about it. Like I love like if I went to Spain to see the flamingo, to see like what they do and their history and their tradition, or the theater, like Wicked and stuff. I don't know, but it just makes you feel connected to your roots or something, like sitting there, like singing those songs that I sang growing up in church, or hearing that music that like my family would listen to. I don't know. It was just really cool. But then afterwards, you didn't say this too, but there were a lot of people who came up and the whole thing about the maids, we won't go into your jokes, but it played out right in front of us. We had a lot of people who came up and they'd be like, oh, well, I'm this Mabe. Oh, but we're not the same Mabes as you are. Or we had people, one guy I went to high school with, he graduated like 2 years before me, was there. So it was just like you're just running into all these people. You know, of course, we got to see Durwood. And then my dad's there, you know, he knows everybody in the county or whatever, my mom and dad. So that was just kind of neat. Like, people talking to you afterwards. That's what made those jokes so funny, is because everybody was like, oh yeah, those Mabes in Stokes County, and telling you stories about it and stuff, which was really cool. We even talked about another thing in Stokes County is people talk about which side of the mountain you live on. We don't have a wrong side of the tracks. We have a wrong side of the mountain. But both of us think we're on like the front side of the mountain. You know? So like I think I grew up on the front side of the mountain. I will stand by that. But other people may think they grew up on the front side of the mountain, but they're really on the back side, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Everything has a front and a back. It depends on which side you're on.
But one of my favorites was this lady came through with her husband, and she was like, I just need you to know you made me laugh. And you were like, oh, well, good. And her husband's like, well, that's saying something. That she doesn't laugh at anything, or she won't laugh at nothing, or something like that. And it was just so funny because it was like, look, you made the unlaughable woman laugh. The woman that never laughs.
And it was an older crowd.
It was, yes.
So, I mean,
yeah.
I would guess the average age was 60.
Yeah, I'd say so, too. Yeah.
But
there were a few younger people sprinkled out. Like, I sat beside a girl that's probably one of Taylor's cousins or something, and she was younger, like Josh, like teenager.
I was hoping you were going to let Josh sit beside her.
Oh.
Because I saw her, I was like, hey, these 2 seats, I'm going to save these for my wife and son.
He said he wanted to be on the end.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but she was cute. I should have.
I was like, oh, well, maybe Josh sit beside this little girl here.
I'm sorry. I blew it. I was so intent.
He probably was related to her anyway.
That's true. She may be a Mabe or Bennett, so we don't know.
He can't get no girl from Stokes County. That's somehow connected to that tree.
Yes, or he could, or Folk or Harrison, some of those. But yeah, so it went so much better. And I
sold a handful of books, so that was nice. And so, you know, that was good too. People came up and wanted to buy my books after hearing me talk.
And once again, the thing I have to say is, like, your people showing up for you too, though.
Yes,
like,
so
I just
many great
cannot
friends.
get over, like, because I saw my mom and dad and your mom and dad when I came in, and then Jeanette was there, and God bless Jeanette. I used to be the person that had to take all the pictures. So not only was I never in the pictures, but you had the pressure of always, did I capture everybody that was here? Jeanette, she did it at church Sunday too. It's she's like when you used to have committees and sign up for things at the churches, she'd be like the church historian or something. But so she took a ton of pictures. She ain't bashful
in taking pictures.
No,
she will stand there. I'm getting your picture.
Yes,
you can't even say nothing.
She will be like, I'm doing it. And
if you don't, she'll jump in and get a selfie with you.
Yeah, and I think Judy was there. I didn't see Mike, but Judy was there when we were standing there. So that's all I saw when I came. Oh no, when I saw Jerry and Kelly and them when I came in. But I walked down, and that's all I knew. Well, then I walked back to the back, and like John and Jennifer and Crystal and Jason and who I'm trying to remember.
Sam and Shelley. Shelley's dad.
Yes, Sam, Shelley's dad. John and Jennifer and Paul.
Yeah.
Just so, I'm probably not going to name everybody, and I apologize, but like so many people. Like I think almost an entire small group came or something to see
it was,
you.
Like I said, it was at least 20.
Yeah, it was really cool. And we didn't get a group picture with everybody at the end because you were saying bye and all that stuff. But that's just really special too. Again, just the community that shows up and, you know, and it was neat because you had all these people that love you and support you and knew you, and they were yelling for you, which you might not have heard.
I couldn't even hear.
They were like,
I know Jason was like, you couldn't hear Jeanette laughing? I'm like, no. But Jeanette was like on the second to last row.
Yes.
I was like, I heard nothing. He was like, gosh. He was like, she was laughing so loud.
Was she?
That's what he said.
Oh, so this is good information. We need to take Jeanette and Maria, because Maria's got a loud, distinctive laugh. They can be your people in the crowd.
I need the loudest laughters in the front couple rows.
Yeah. So, yeah. But it was great.
Well, Taylor liked it enough that he's already, like I said, he has 4 more shows this year. June, August, October, December. He's already given me an open invitation to open for him all 4 shows. He thought it went so well. Unfortunately, the June one I can't.
We're out of town on
We're
our
going to be out of
vacation.
town on vacation that Saturday, so I'm not going to be able to do the June one. But as of right now, the August, October, December are all open. And then we're going to sit down and talk and see about turning this into a ministry.
Like a traveling roadshow?
Yeah, for churches. Like if a church wants to have like music and comedy night, they would book Taylor and I. And so we're going to sit down and talk about that.
Which would be really cool, like Valentine banquet kind of thing, or like just a night, like a Saturday night family, like a show or something. Right. Yeah.
So I told him, I said, we could do the first show at Re3. I was like, we'll treat it like a real show. We'll sell tickets.
Yeah.
It'll just be, I'll open, you'll do the music. And he was like, I would love that.
Yeah.
So right now he's booked about 2 months out. So him and I are going to have lunch this week or next week and try to figure out what some possible dates and sites that we can do something like this at. So he said he got the idea. I did not know this. He is a huge Elvis fan.
And he can sing like Elvis. He's amazing.
He doesn't dress. He's not like an Elvis impersonator.
No, but he can sing his songs.
He sings his
He's
songs.
got the voice
just like him.
Yeah.
He said Elvis used to have a comedian open for him, which I had no idea that he did that. But he said when Elvis would go on tour, he would bring a comedian with him, and the comedian would come out and for about 10 or 15 minutes just do jokes and stories and get everybody kind of loosened up.
Yeah.
And then Elvis would come out.
Yeah.
And so he said he always thought that was a great idea. And then he said during COVID, when everything was shut down, there's a Southern gospel singer named Jason Crabb, who's very famous. And Jason got a stand-up comedian friend of his. And he said they just piled in a van and just started going to different churches, whoever would host them during COVID that was open to having them. And they just started doing this little like comedy and music acoustic show just during COVID to give people a break.
Yeah.
And he said it blew up. And now it's like a whole big tour. The stand-up comedian guy is actually getting ready to have his own Netflix special. Like it's gone really, really well. And so Taylor was like, I just always looked at that and was like, if Elvis can do it and Jason Crabb can do it, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
And he was like, I just never had anybody I knew that could do comedy. But him and I get along great. And after Saturday night, he said, I loved it. He was like, we've got to keep doing this. And I was like, all right.
It's really cool.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be awesome, and I hope it takes off, and I hope that, I hope then I'll just like be a kept woman when you're making all that money and traveling around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it. When I'm making my $20 a show.
Yeah, whatever. And we're making all those book royalties, all the royalties from this podcast. I mean, I don't even know how that works. But anyway, when you've got all that, I'll live a life of leisure there. Yeah. One totally random thing, I sent a picture to the family chat and y'all didn't comment on it. But when I went down to do my talk for the new faculty, it was at our new medical school in Charlotte. They had one of those babies that the students learn on, and it looked like it was in a little baby, when newborns are born and they're in those little beds or whatever. So I'm standing across the room and I'm like, I want to go see the baby. I want to touch the baby. I want to hold the baby. One of the ladies was like, well, just go over there. So I go over and the baby's there. Well, more than did I just get to hold the baby. She's like, you can put on the stethoscope and listen to the heartbeat and the breathing. So I'm just sitting there. And then she was like telling the guy, make the baby cry for her. They made the baby cry. Anyway, I sent all y'all
Did
this
you shake
picture.
the baby?
No, I did not.
I'd be like, I always wanted to do this. I knew I couldn't with my kids, but this is a robot. So let me just shake the heck out of this baby.
No, but I got to play with this baby. Anyway, it was just that's just a random thing that happened to me that was fun. Like with work, that's why I like when I get to go do something in person like that. Just like getting to do something so outside of your normal every day. I'm sitting there and I feel like somebody's filming ERs. I'm sitting there listening to the baby's heartbeat or whatever. In my new green suit, my green suit, I decided to do professional but with a pop of color, my dark green suit. So, so that was my excitement last week outside of our Easter and your speaking. I did my talk or whatever and had the phone call during it, but it was fun. But I sent it to the family chat and everybody just ignored it. They were like, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it meant. And I was like,
I just didn't care.
oh, y'all are the worst. Sometimes the family chats, it's something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, different people think different things are funny.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I wasn't even trying to be funny. I just wanted to be like, what's up with this baby?
Different people think different things are interesting.
Yes. Well, I thought it was very interesting.
The other 4 of us did not.
Our other thing, you and I, maybe we'll talk about this in future things, but we got to get our hummingbird feeders cleaned and set up to prepare. It's about hummingbird time. We've got all of our birds and things. I've got to refill all those, and we're going to be ready. And then you still have aspirations you talked to Jacob about a raised garden.
Yeah.
Jacob's becoming tractor farm. The place he works,
Tractor
Supply, has like made him. He's like, I thought about doing that. I thought about getting chickens.
He's going to be a homesteader before we know it.
Yes, I'm like, he was talking about everything he's going to do. So, but we've got very hard ground in our backyard. But maybe you and I'll be reporting on our raised garden that we'll try to create at some point. That may be one of our next updates. Yeah. That could be a colossal fail, but we'll see. Yeah.
Well, that's about it for me, Beth. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if people want to send any Cadbury eggs, if they want to go just flip through and pretend to read our books on Kindle Unlimited so we can make 35 cents.
21.
Oh, 21. Sorry. Gosh.
Yeah, we should do that. If you have Kindle Unlimited, just go download the book and just flip through it.
Yeah.
I mean,
do that for us. Yeah, just do that.
If we get enough people, we can get some popcorn at the next show.
Yes, think about it. If we had enough people, we might be able to buy $5 worth of popcorn for each member of
that thing,
the family.
Buy Me a Coffee, where people can when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, podcasters have that. I should probably put it on ours. People can donate. But we can do buy us a popcorn.
You should do that. Put that on there so people can buy us $1 popcorn. Yes. But then we'll be thirsty, so we may need bottled water with it. Yeah. So, but I don't want to ask for too much. I don't want to be greedy.
Well, I will keep everyone updated on any upcoming show schedule that I may have.
Yes.
And other than that, that's about it, right?
Yeah. Till next time.
All right. Till next time, this has been Mike.
And Beth.
Hey, are you still there?